It's time for another declutter, and we are finally diving into my makeup. My drawers have been absolutely overflowing, and I love to do this at the end of the year, and I want to make this helpful too by kind of telling you some speed reviews of these products. I'm going to be getting rid of some stuff that just didn't work for me, or I just didn't really use much this year. I like to kind of keep my collection very refreshed. I get very overwhelmed when I have too much going on, but yeah, I want to make this a informational video for you guys, and especially tell you why I may be getting rid of something or keeping something in my collection. But just keep in mind, this is my job. I do review beauty stuff for a living, so I do get a lot of makeup and PR. I buy a lot myself, and there's always new products coming out, so I have to make some room here. As much as I would love to keep everything, I physically cannot in my 900 square foot house. I always like to keep up on my collection, so luckily none of this stuff is like expired and has to be thrown away. I do not like to waste product. I give pretty much everything to friends, family. I send stuff to my husband's work with him. He works at a huge company. They will gladly take new stuff, and a few things that I did purchase myself only I do list on my Poshmark as well, just to make a little bit of money back. So none of the stuff is being wasted, just to throw that out there, because I feel like I get that comment quite a bit. But anyways, I'm excited. Today we're going to be going over kind of my primers, setting spray, powders. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do my foundation or concealers in here, or if that's going to be separate, but this is a series I'm doing with my collection, so I will have kind of every aspect of my makeup collection in a video coming up for this declutter. But let's go ahead and just get into it. So we're gonna start off this video here with some primer. So these are my current kind of primers, and just like even like a couple skincare things that I may use as a primer instead, like my dewdrops here. I definitely want to make this more informational, so I'm gonna try and just talk about each of the primers if I have an opinion on them. I don't think I'll be decluttering a lot here, but we'll see what happens. Now, the first one we're going to start off with, this is the Catrice Skin Glaze. It's a hydrating serum primer. It's actually kind of supposed to be a dupe for the Natasha Denona. I think it's called the High Glam or something. I will tell you, I do have oily skin. I know I did a review on this one, and it's not my favorite. It does have kind of almost an iridescent look to it. It's very glass-like and milky, but this made me a little bit too oily throughout the day. I don't like a lot of glaze or luminizing primers, as you'll see. It just didn't really work out for me. So this one's going to be a declutter. Now this one is new in my collection from Iconic London. I just picked it up in the Sephora savings event, and this is the Underglow Blurring Primer. This actually is really cool. It's so lightweight, and it does kind of give a blur to the skin. I am just in the very beginning stages of trying this out, so I haven't formed an opinion quite yet. I'm a little bit worried about it if it's going to be too greasy for me, but so far I am still trying, so I'm going to keep that one in my collection. Now I do have a bunch of these from Say. These are the glowy super gels, which I feel like are super popular, especially like on TikTok and stuff. And personally, a lot of people do use these who have more dry skin. Again, I'm oily, and these are really luminous. I feel like maybe I can make them work as a highlight, but they keep sending me them, so I keep trying to make it work. I do have a couple shades. My favorite from them is this Star Glow right here. It has a little bit of a more icy look to it, but it's like luminizing without being too glittery or anything. It's kind of a light luminous base. It feels very gel-like because it is the super gel, so it doesn't get too sticky on the skin. I also have their newer, this is the Rose Glow, which is a little bit deeper. Now personally, I don't think the Rose Glow is quite for me. I definitely would use more of the Star Glow shade, so I think we can go ahead and declutter Rose Glow for sure. This one will go to a new home. I barely use this one, and it's fairly new, and I love to give like big packages to kind of smaller creators who maybe can't like afford or don't get as much PR as someone like me. So I try to make some fun packages for some smaller creators, and sometimes they don't mind stuff that's been gently used like that. I have this little mini size too, which I also might just declutter that one. I know I don't really take this on trips with me, so yeah, I think I want to keep using this one and maybe even try it as like a liquid highlight on the face. So I'm gonna keep it. I do have 2 of the e.l.f. Halo Glow liquid filter. I actually quite enjoy this product. It's kind of nice on light makeup days if I just want to throw something on to even out the skin. It's definitely not something I would wear for long wear because I am oily, but I think this is great for dry combo skin and just like natural makeup days for me. So I have 2 shades. I probably don't need both of them. This is pretty popular for being similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter, but less glittery. As you can see, this is how shade 1 looks, kind of blended out. It has a little bit of a tint to it. And then I have shade 3 here, which is a little deeper. So we'll swatch that up here so you guys can see. I use this on more self-tan days, but I think personally shade 1 is going to just end up being more flattering. I don't think I need to keep both because I don't use this too often, to be honest with you, but I do like to have it around because I think it is a good like drugstore recommendation. But I'm gonna keep shade 1. We'll declutter shade 3. Next up is my Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. I really love this stuff. I honestly feel like I've been slacking on using it, but it is a top primer for me in my collection. It's pricey. I've definitely used a lot of this one too. I don't know if you guys could see it in there, but it's well loved. This one truly just feels like your skin is literally airbrushed when you put this one on. I feel like it keeps my makeup on all day. I think it works great for any skin type, and I truly enjoy this one, so I'm keeping. Another love of mine, we're getting into my One Size primers. I love the One Size brand. They cater really well towards oily skin. And this has been a favorite of mine, the Oil Sucker Extreme Mattifying Primer. This will keep me matte all day. I like to pair it even with their foundation, and I can wear this with more glowy foundations as well to keep it a little more controlled. So I truly do enjoy this one. I think it works so well for keeping my oil a little more calm. I would definitely recommend for oily skin, maybe a little bit of combo. You can just put it in the T-zone, but if you have dry skin, I feel like it's gonna feel too tight for you. But I am keeping it. Another One Size, I actually like this one, the Secure the Glow here. I've almost used mine up. I feel like it has hit or miss reviews because it's kind of marketed as a tacky primer, but it's really not a tacky primer. I use it just for a nice kind of moisturized base that's not too heavy. Again, it's more like a gel finish, but no shimmer. So I kind of like this one for when I want a more hydrated primer. This one seems to work really well, and I do feel like it grips my makeup a little bit, but it's definitely not like Milk Hydro Grip level, but I will be keeping that one. I love it. I do have a backup of it for when that one runs out. Now I have my Dewdrops from Glow Recipe. I included these as primers just because that's what I use them for. You can use them as your moisturizer too, and they're really popular, but yeah, they're definitely very dewy. I have the original, and I do have the Hue Drops, which a lot of people seem to like this one, but I will say I think these are a little orange on me, and I don't love the overall color I get. Sometimes I think I'm just too fair for using some of these bronzing drops because yeah, they all turn orange. I personally don't really feel like I have a need for them in my makeup collection. I am going to go ahead and declutter the Hue Drops, but I will hold on to the original Glow Drops. Let's move these more in the center here. Okay, the NYX face glue, I really only used those a couple times so far, so I feel like I need a little bit more time with it. I don't think it's as tacky though as like the Milk Hydro Grip, so I'm kind of on the fence with this one. I do think it has really cool packaging, but I do want to test that one out a bit more. The Catrice Aqua Splash Grip, this is a really good Milk makeup dupe. I do really like this one though. I feel like it definitely grips better, even more gripping than the NYX, but it's very comparable to the Milk, and I really like this, and it's under $10, really great price point, so I'm keeping that one. I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect. This is another bronzing drop product. I'm not a fan of the color. Does it do a good job? Sure, to bronze up the skin, but it's too luminous for me and too orange on my skin, so I'm gonna be decluttering that as well. I just feel like I don't need any bronzing drops in my collection. Okay, this is a fairly new primer, and I'm still testing the Huda Easy Blur. I do like this one. I don't know if it's necessarily the best for holding oils, but it does give a nice blur to the skin. It makes the pores look real nice. So I'm still testing this one. I am gonna keep it. This one is from e.l.f., the Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I actually like this one. I feel like this lasted really well with my makeup. I even love pairing it with e.l.f.'s foundation that they launched this year. And if I want long wear, I feel like this one does a good job, just kind of smooths everything out. I know they have their regular putty primer too that was popular in the balm form, but I love it in this liquid one, so I do want to hold on to that. I do have the Power Grip as well. I do find myself using this less and less. I mean, I have gone through quite a bit, but honestly, I feel like if I'm going for gripping, I kind of like the Catrice one a little bit more, and it's a little bit cheaper. So I think I'm going to declutter this one. This is the niacinamide version, which essentially just does the same thing. Okay, this is like pretty much donezo, but this is the One Size Secure the Sweat Primer. I did go through this. I will say, after I finish this, I will not be repurchasing. I like this, but the oil sucker does a much better job for me at controlling oil. So I kind of feel like eventually they will discontinue this one and just keep the oil sucker. I mean, hopefully. I just like that one a bit better. So yeah, this is pretty much gone. I maybe have like maybe one use left of this one. So this one is pretty good at keeping the sweat away, but I do still get a little greasy with it. And then this one size as well. I just don't think it does anything. Again, if you're going with the One Size primer, the oil sucker is the way to go. So I am going to be decluttering this makeup magnet primer. I don't think it does much for the skin. And then these are all Denona Yummy Skin Balms. This is the backup, which I'm not allowing myself to buy many backups anymore, but I am just about done with this one. Like, I have a couple uses left out of this Yummy Skin Balm, but this is one of my favorite primers as well. This one goes on creamy like a balm, but then it like sets down like a powder, and you will feel your skin is super matte once you apply this, and it's seriously magical. I feel like it smooths things, it blurs the skin. You can get tinted ones as well, and sometimes I'll wear it as a skin tint. It's seriously one of the best if you have oily skin. Some people just don't like it for the texture, but trust me, this stuff works at keeping you matte all day. That's why I have so many. I have my full size, which I'm keeping, and I do have my little travel size ones as well. These are nice for on the go. They take up a lot less space in your makeup bag, so I do have my little travel minis, which I do use both of these as well. So these are my go-to for like travel, a long makeup day when I need my makeup to last, look flawless all day. That's what I go for. So let's see. It looks like we got rid of 2, 4, 6, let me move these out of the way, and then 7 primers here. I lied, there's one more declutter I forgot to include in there, so that makes 8 declutters. I'm including this one because it's like almost gone. Like, I could just use this today and it'll be done. And then I'm gonna keep, I guess 4 we're keeping here, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 15 keeps. Next category is foundations. We have a lot going on here. This is just the foundations. I will also be doing skin tints next, but this is definitely an area in my collection that gets really out of control, and I definitely have some thoughts on some of these, and I'm ready to let go of some and kind of share with you what I think about these. I love trying out new foundations, so sometimes I just collect an overabundance because I'm always on the search for the best foundation for oily skin. So let's get started here. First, we have this one from e.l.f. that launched this year, which is the e.l.f. Camo CC Cream, the hydrating one. They came out with this, but they also launched their Soft Glam Satin Foundation too. Honestly, I liked both of these formulas, so I do want to hold on to each of them. So I'm going to keep this one. I didn't find it to be too dewy on me. I actually found that it lasts quite well. And with the satin foundations, I have 3 of these because I bought one, and then e.l.f. sent over a couple as well. But I know some people with oily skin don't love this one. I personally thought it wore well, especially with the Poreless Putty Primer from e.l.f., the liquid one that I talked about in my primer video. but I like this one. I thought that it held up well. It's a great drugstore option, under $10. But I definitely don't need all of these shades. I'm going to swatch a couple on my skin and see which ones we end up keeping. So it looks like I'm keeping Light Neutral 25. This is the closest match to me. What's interesting is I also have this Light Neutral, but this is 21. But this one was too orange, so I'm going to declutter. And then I'm also decluttering the Light Cool 23. So decluttering 2 and keeping just one of these. This is Fenty's foundation that launched this year, and I really enjoyed this. I think they also came out with a stick foundation. I don't know if that was this year or last. I did not like the stick. I think I returned that one already, but I really like their soft lit. It's a luminous foundation, but it's not too luminous. I feel like any skin type, again, could wear this one. I just would wear a more mattifying primer or a mattifying powder, and I feel like it looks very flawless on the skin. Perfect medium coverage. Lasts really well. I do have a wear test on this one, but I will be keeping. I really love this foundation from Catrice as well, the True Skin. This has great coverage, very long wearing, and it looks so flawless on the skin. Again, under $10. I love a lot of stuff from Catrice. Do I want to keep both these shades? I think I will keep both of these for now. Since this is a favorite, I do like to have one for more self-tan days and one just for my regular, normal, non-self-tan skin color. I also have 2 Prada foundations. I will say, I usually, if I have 2, it's because I wear one for my photo shoots, but right now my go-to photo shoot foundation is the one size right here. The Prada is gorgeous as well, but I do like something more full coverage for photo shoots, but this is something I will wear every day. That's not full coverage. It's more medium coverage, but it looks so blurring, so smooth, and perfected on the skin. I can't believe it. I know it's so expensive, but this one is truly worth the price. I don't usually get super hyped about super luxury foundations, but yeah, this one was great for me and I really enjoyed it. I was thinking if I want to declutter the more tan shade, but I feel like I want to keep both just because it's nice to mix depending on if my tan is fading or what's going on. So I am going to hold on to both of them because it is a top favorite. Now I have 4 of the one size. This is the Turn Up the Base foundation. I ended up getting 3 of them in PR, and then my friend Heather also gave me one that's a little bit deeper that I can wear for self-tan. So I'm thinking if I need all of these shades. I don't know that I necessarily need 4, but I might keep 3. Let's see. So I'm definitely keeping my self-tan shade right here. I wear this for all my photo shoots now. This is Light 35N. Fair 20R is the shade that matches me the best, so this is just my normal everyday shade, so I'm going to keep that one. Light 20N might be just slightly too yellow for me, so I think I'll declutter this, and I'm also going to keep the Light 10 as well, just because the winter time I know I'm going to get pretty pale and pasty, so I'm going to keep that one, and we'll just declutter one of these. But this truly is like my favorite foundation right now. It is so good. I really like the Lancome Tint Idol foundation as well. I don't know if I need both of these shades. I think I use this one the most, the 330N. This is a great, again, I like this one for photo shoots because it lasts all day and it's pretty, I would say, oily skin friendly. It doesn't get too oily on the skin and it's really good coverage. So I am going to keep this one. And I think I'm going to declutter the 215C that I have. I think I only need one of these really on hand. I also have 2 of the Hourglass. This is the Soft Glow foundation, but again, I think I'm just going to keep one of these. I really like this one. I think it's gorgeous. A little bit more luminous on the skin, but has great full coverage, very blurring. I do enjoy this one a lot. It used to be in like my top 3, but now I would say the one size has definitely taken its place. I think I'm just going to hold on to this shade, which is the shade I use the most, which is number 5. I also have number 7 that I used a lot for photo shoots, but I just prefer something just a teensy bit more matte for a photo shoot day, so that's why I'm going to declutter this. I have a couple of these from Too Faced. Now the Too Faced Born This Way matte foundation, this used to be my top favorite. Unfortunately, they are discontinuing this one. It's pretty much all gone now, and they replaced it with this new soft matte, which is not as good. So this isn't my holy grail anymore. The one size replaced holy grail status for this one. So now I don't feel like I need to keep this in my collection. Yes, it was a favorite of mine for years. I do still enjoy it, but I'm going to reach for the one size over this any day now. And since you can't even get it anymore, it's not even really worth talking about on my channel, just so you guys can feel FOMO about it. So I'm going to declutter this. But just know that doesn't mean I never loved it. And the many times I included it in a favorites video, this is like my most repurchased foundation. But yeah, now it's not available anymore. Now this one is pretty good as well, but it's just not as oily skin friendly. It still gets a little bit dewy on the skin, but it still has really good coverage. So I am gonna hold on to this one. I did like this Rem Beauty one, but I don't think it would like make a even top 8 for me for foundations. I think it's nice, like it's kind of in the middle. So I think I'm actually gonna declutter this one just because I have so many and I really need to make some more declutters here. I did try out the Patrick Ta. This is the one that just came out, the Major Skin Luminous Perfecting Foundation. You know, some luminous foundations do work for me, but this is oil slick. I know it has a lot of great skincare ingredients in this, but I cannot wear this as foundation. It just does not work for oily skin in my opinion. The only oily skin people that I've seen like this are ones that are sponsored. So, I mean, I feel like that says a lot. It just doesn't work, but I feel like it does look really beautiful if you guys have dry or combo skin, but it's just not, it's not for my skin type. So that one's gotta go. Okay, this one size one, I think I'm gonna declutter this. This is just interesting. I know it's more of technically supposed to be a tint because it's like a BBB cream, a Beauty Blur Balm, but it's actually really high coverage. But I really don't reach for this one. It's a little thick on the skin. I definitely prefer their regular foundation, the liquid one, because it's so lightweight. But yeah, this one's a little too thick for my liking, and I feel like I go through it too fast, so I'm going to be decluttering this. I have kind of tried to enjoy this one, but I just don't think it's for my skin. The Terracotta Le Tint from Guerlain. Again, I'm really picky, especially when it comes to these luxury brands. So far, Prada is top tier for me, but I like this one when I first put it on, but then it gets really greasy throughout the day. So I'm going to declutter that. Now this is a luminous foundation that I really enjoy from NARS. Like I said, some luminous foundations I can do, especially with the right skin prep. This is the Light Reflecting Foundation. This just looks so perfected on the skin. I mean, sometimes luminous foundations are nice because they do make your skin look so flawless and a little more flattering than, let's say, a matte foundation would. But I probably can't wear this for like 12 hours, but I can definitely wear this for a good 8-hour day. I think it's really pretty on the skin, so I'm keeping. Okay, I have 2 of these Bare Minerals Bare Pro. This is the Skin Perfecting Matte Foundation. I just cannot get along with Bare Minerals foundations. This one feels so heavy on the skin. It does have good coverage, but yeah, I just can't do with the feeling of that foundation. It's like, definitely recommend the one size over this because it is so lightweight. But yeah, this is too heavy. I don't like how it feels on the skin or how it wears, so I'm going to let both of these go. This one I just really don't reach for, the YSL All Hours foundation. I know this one is a pretty good one though for oilier skin, but yeah, I'm not reaching for it. I have other favorites in my collection. It wouldn't rank in the top 10, so I'm gonna declutter. Alright, one more row of just foundations and then we can do skin tints. There might be some overlap if I forgot any. I did buy this House Labs. It's a white foundation. You're probably like, what is that? It's not a primer, I promise. It is a foundation. It's a white color because you can mix this in with foundations that are too dark for you, but I never use it. I never pull this out. I never remember to, so I would rather this go to a new home. I just bought this, I think, during the spring sale, so it's not really that old at all. But I never reach for it, even though it sounds like a cool idea, so I'm gonna let this go. And I'm noticing now I don't have my House Labs foundation in here. I do have a tinted one in this. Not sure where it went. I just talked about it during a Sephora VIB sale haul, so that one's definitely staying in my collection. But the white one can be decluttered. Okay, so I recently did buy the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation again. This is my self-tan shade because this used to be a holy grail again for photo shoot makeup. But I know I keep saying this, but the one size has kind of taken over for this too. But I don't want to get rid of this. It's still a really nice foundation. It's one of the most like budge proof ones that you can get. It will last literally all day on the skin, cover everything. So I will be keeping that. I really did like the Makeup Forever, the HD Skin for a really long time, but honestly I haven't been reaching for it as much with some of the new foundations in my collection. So I'm feeling like I can let these go. Sometimes you do have favorites, but like I said, I'm always looking for even better stuff every single day. And while I used to love these, I do have better stuff in my collection now that do perform a little bit more how I would like. But this is a nice natural foundation on the skin. Works great for oily skin if you want something a little more natural. I'm gonna declutter both of those actually. I also have here the Huda Easy Blur Foundation. I feel like this is like the it foundation right now. It's a good one. I think it lasts really well. I've only tried it like a couple times, so still messing around with this one, but so far I do really like this. And then I have my Urban Decay ones. I do like this one as well. I do feel like this was raved and raved about for the longest, and everyone was saying it's like you don't get oily at all with this one, but I definitely do get oily with it, but I still like it. It's very lightweight, it's very full coverage, so I would definitely still keep this one around and wear it. I'm gonna keep both of these shades because I do think this is a really good foundation, especially for oily skin. You might get just a tiny bit greasy, but again, using a mattifying primer or powder, you're good to go. I do have this one from Colourpop, and I will admit I've not been using this one anymore either, and it is one that I did used to like a lot, but I think I am going to let this one go, the Pretty Fresh. I just haven't reached for it in a very long time, so I think it's time to say goodbye. I also have these Dior ones, and I think, I could be wrong, I think this is the old formula, which I definitely prefer the old formula compared to the new formula, which is kind of sad. The new one gets a little bit more greasier, but I still like it, and I still think it's a really good natural foundation. Just something nice for every day, good for all skin types. It does get a little bit greasy, but again, good skin prep. I can make this last, but yeah, I probably should declutter this one. It's getting old and they don't make this one anymore. And I will keep this newer formula. And then the last for the kind of fuller coverage foundations, I have the Revolution Skin Silk. I actually kind of liked this one. I feel like it didn't really get as much hype, but this is really gorgeous on the skin. Definitely, again, not a 12-hour foundation for me, but it would be a good 8-hour foundation for me. It does make the skin look pretty flawless. I don't think I need both of these shades. The F3 matches me a little bit better than F6. F3 is a little bit more cooler tone, so I'm gonna hold on to this and declutter F6. Now we have my skin tints here, so something a little more lighter coverage. I'll admit, I'm definitely more of a fuller coverage girl, but I have learned to appreciate some skin tints. But usually these can run a little too dewy for me, so I'm definitely very picky with these. So Colourpop Pretty Fresh, again, I just really am not using this as much compared to some of my newer skin tints, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this one. It is very, very light coverage on the skin if you do like that, and it works pretty good for oily skin. The Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin, I am gonna hold on to this. It is a little bit more dewy. It is a serum skin tint, but I just feel like it's very flattering on the skin. Again, this is really, really light coverage. Like if you just want barely there coverage, you will like this one, but it's so lightweight. It's just very nice just to even things out a tad. I love the YSL skin tint. Surprisingly, this one works really good for oily skin. Like I can always wear this one and have it last all day, and I like the lighter coverage on this. It's like light enough, it's like a light to medium, so you can build it up a little bit. I don't know if I necessarily need both colors though. I feel like I use number 7 the most. I'm probably going to declutter this number 2 and keep number 7. The Say Slip Tint I've kind of been trying out a little bit more. I really don't have my full thoughts on this, but I've liked it so far the times I have used it. But I don't know if it would be holy grail status. I do want to keep it and test it a bit more. The Hourglass Veil, I feel like so many people love this one. I just don't find that it's like that great. I don't know. I think it's okay. I definitely prefer the YSL or the Danessa, so I think I'm gonna let this one go. This is not necessarily a skin tint, but I have this Ilia stick foundation. I got this during a Sephora sale when it came out. I think this spring one actually. I don't really reach for this. I didn't like how it looked on the skin. I thought it looked kind of heavy and cakey on me, which I don't usually have that problem too often, so I'm gonna declutter. I did try out this Wet n Wild. This is their Niacinamide Skin Tint. This one is a little bit more dewy than this one, which is really popular from them, which I'll get into. I didn't mind it. I think I want to test it a little bit more because I've only worn this a couple times, and I did try it with kind of a dewy primer. I think it was actually some bronzing drops. So I feel like I could make this more even mattifying for my skin, but I feel like it was nice, and this is really affordable. I don't need both of these. I don't know why I have two of the same color. I think I actually must have bought one on Amazon or something, and I must have bought one in store too. So I should probably see. I think this is the one that I use, so I can keep that Declutter one. I really like the Fenty. This is a really good skin tint for oily skin. Nice, light, medium buildable coverage. The Fenty Eavesdrop. I really like this one, so I'm going to keep it. The Sigma one is pretty on the skin. It's definitely not the most friendly for oily skin, though. This one does get greasy on me throughout the day. I do kind of want to keep one though, because I do think it is pretty on the skin. So let's see, I must have a few different shades here. I have two of number 2s and one of number 3. I think I got gifted one during Creators and Friends. Okay, this one's definitely not used, so I'm going to declutter that one so it can go to a new home. And then I think I use number 2 the most over number 3. So let's keep number 2 and we'll declutter number 3. But yeah, definitely not a bad skin tint. It's just geared more for, I think, dry or combo skin, but I can definitely make it work. Okay, I actually had to add a few in. I forgot to add these in as I was organizing things here, but the CoverGirl, I know so many people love this one. It's their Essence with the little popping foundation beads, but I was one that didn't like it. I found this one to be really oily on me. Yeah, it's a cool concept. It was supposed to be similar to the Chanel. I really did like the Chanel though. I did try that a couple years ago, but it's really expensive too, like $20 for this. I just didn't feel like it was that great. I have 2 shades and I am decluttering both. I have 3 of these Catrice tinted serums. I don't think I've opened all these. Let's see. Okay, I opened that one. I think this is the one that I mostly use, which is 036C. This is actually quite nice. It is definitely very liquidy, a little bit glowy on the skin, but I don't mind it. It's very weightless, just a nice little tint to even things out. So I am going to actually just keep this one, and then we'll get rid of these 2 other shades I don't really wear. I did try out this Beauty Blender Bounce Skin Tint. I did see a couple people that really liked this one, and I've been trying to make it work, but I think I just don't like it. You don't really see it much on the skin. I feel like it's a skin tint that's like almost non-existent. I just find that every time I try it, I don't really like how it looks on me, so I'm going to declutter that one. I really like this L'Oreal one here. It looks like I have a couple shades. I mostly use this one in Rosy Light, so I want to keep this. It's their nude hyaluronic tinted serum. Really good stuff. I find the coverage to be a good light medium, so it doesn't really, so it actually does show up on the skin, and I feel like it wears pretty well. So we'll just get rid of one shade there. These are my Salt New York balms. They're sneaky balms. I also have a couple bronzers in here, but these top 2 shades are their foundation. I got this at another creator like retreat in New Orleans. The owner of Salt New York was there, Kiki. She's super nice. And these are very skin-like. She actually made them for people who maybe their skin breaks out with a lot of foundation, so they're supposed to be really good for the skin, and I think they're really pretty. They definitely look like your skin, but better. It's kind of nice to have it in this little cream compact too. So I'm gonna keep that. Usually with cream foundations, a lot of them I've tried get super greasy on me, but this one doesn't. I find that it actually stays really good. Okay, I have the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This is one that I really did like for a while, but I will admit I haven't been using it as much since I got the newer one, so I think I might declutter this one actually. This is from Win Beauty, and this is their, let's see, this is a new brand at Ulta by one of the Williams sisters. I think it's Serena Williams brand who plays tennis. That's why it's all like this tennis ball color. But this is their Flex Skin Tint. This is so greasy on the skin. Absolutely not. I think they have really cool packaging though, but I just wasn't a fan of that one at all. So greasy. I'm testing out this Sephora Reveal the Real. This is so lightweight on the skin, so that's really nice. It's definitely very, very, very light coverage, so if you're wanting something that shows up a little more, it's probably not for you, but this actually lasted pretty well. I wore it yesterday for a full day, and I was impressed with it, so I'm gonna keep that one. And then I have the Super Goop one, the SPF tint. I honestly feel like I need to try this one a bit more, so I do want to hold on to that one too. Now let's add up all these foundation products. Alright, so for total declutters, we have 36 foundation products. Keeps, we have a total of 30, which is still a little over what I want to be, but I think we'll keep it at that, and maybe the rest of the year I can kind of try more of these out and see if there's any more that can go. But we still did almost half the collection, so that is pretty good. But I am happy with pretty much all of these foundations here. I do like to keep a variety on hand too for different videos and comparisons and stuff like that as well. So here is all of my concealers here. This is going to be a hard one to go over, so I feel like I'm just going to start with my favorites first so we can kind of narrow it down. I will say I have two of these Sigma correctors. One is unopened and one is the one I'm currently using. It's probably going to take me a while to use this up. I'm trying not to keep too many backups. I do love this a lot. It's one of my favorite correctors. Probably my favorite color corrector of all time. It just has a slight pink tint to it, so it's great for dark circles. I wear it underneath some of my other lighter concealers. Sometimes I use it for blemishes too. But yeah, I use this a lot, and there's a lot of product in here. You only need a little bit. It has great coverage. So I'm going to keep this one, and we'll just give this one to a new home that is new and unused. I have been trying out this corrector from Cali Ray. This one is nice and lightweight, but it definitely doesn't do as much as the Sigma one for me. It's like a slight yellow tint, so it's going to correct more purple dark circles, but I think I'm going to declutter that one. I do want to grab out my Laura Mercier concealers here. This is one of my favorite concealers. I have a couple shades in this one. There's one that's a little lighter in 1C1. I also have one N0. But this is good stuff. It's a nice serum consistency, but still gives you good coverage. It's so lightweight, doesn't really sink into lines at all. It's one of my holy grails, so I'm keeping both. I also love this one from House Labs. I wish I got like a deeper color. I have 03 Fair Rosy, which can be a little bit too light sometimes, but this is a really great formula as well. It's a little thicker than the Laura Mercier, but this also lasts all day under the eyes and doesn't crease up too much either. I like a good fuller coverage concealer. The Huda is a great one for that. I have Cotton Candy in this one. That's the shade. Really good stuff. I'm keeping my Natasha Denona. This is it called the High Glam? Yeah, High Glam Concealer. This one I have R2. Again, really good full coverage. It lasts all day for me, but not too heavy on the under eyes. So those are my like top faves. There's still quite a few in here that are good though, and some that I'm testing out. I will go ahead and declutter this Too Faced one, the Born This Way Ethereal Light. It's a little bit too radiant for me. It's nice and lightweight, but I just prefer actually just their original Born This Way, which I have a bunch of minis of this one, but this one is just too light. I feel like if you have a little more lines and you're more worried about that, or you don't have a ton of darkness, then you might like this one, but I'm going to declutter that one. And I will keep, these two shades are like a tiny bit too dark for me, which is kind of annoying, but I really do like this Too Faced Born This Way concealer. I love that they came out with a mini size this year. I need to get probably a full size though, because I've been using it again and I forgot how much I love it. But yeah, the shades that they sent over were just a little bit too dark. I think I'm going to end up keeping Porcelain. It's just a hint lighter. And I'll declutter this one in Vanilla just because of the shade. I really like this NARS concealer for blemishes. I will say I haven't been having to use it as much lately because my skin's been relatively clear, but this is my go-to just to cover up blemishes because it is a really good full coverage and it stays in place. I don't use it under the eyes though because I feel like it's too heavy, but I'm keeping that one. This one from Say, I feel like I need a bit more testing on this one because I honestly don't remember my thoughts on this. I feel like I tried it maybe once when it came out and then kind of forgot about it. So I should probably keep that one to try it a bit more. I will declutter this one from Giorgio Armani though. This is their Luminous Silk Concealer. I know the Luminous Silk Foundation is very well loved, but this one I felt like it didn't do much for my under eyes. They got pretty dark right away with this one, so I'm going to declutter that. This Jouer one, I've really only been using this for blemishes too, but since I really mostly like the NARS for that, I'm probably going to end up decluttering this one. It's just like really full coverage. I probably wouldn't use that one under the eyes. The YSL Touche Eclat pen, I feel like this used to be really popular. It's a kind of radiant concealer, but it's really thin, and I feel like it doesn't do much coverage wise. It does illuminate for sure, but I feel like I need a bit more coverage, so I'm gonna let that go. I also have this one from Maybelline. I really like this one. I actually recently picked it up, I think in the past year. Been using it again. This one kind of brightens up the under eyes too, because I have it in the more pink shade, and I really forgot how much I enjoyed this, so I'm going to keep that one. The Colourpop Pretty Fresh. I feel like I'm just kind of decluttering this line in general, so I think I'm going to let this one go as well. I feel like I have better options in my collection. This Makeup Forever HD Skin one, I just really never noticed it doing, again, too much for me. Nothing out of the ordinary or super special, so we're gonna declutter that one. I am still testing this Bare Minerals one. This one is supposed to be a matte concealer, which doesn't sound the best, but I feel like this could be good for a decent coverage, and since I have more oily skin, but usually the under eyes really aren't that oily, but I'm gonna give this another try. I am going to declutter, I know, the Tower 28. I feel like everyone loves this, but it's a little bit too dewy for me. Again, it's not as full coverage as I would like, and it doesn't really wear well for me. It breaks down throughout the day. I just feel like this is better for dry skin and if you're really concerned about fine lines. And then this is a corrector from Lottie London that I will be decluttering. Again, I prefer the Sigma. I think it just does a better job. This one was a little too thick for me. The Fenty concealer, I feel like was, again, just okay. Nothing out of this world. I think I can let that one go. The Lancome, I do like this one also, more of a blemish concealer because it is pretty full coverage. I don't really use it under the eyes very much though. I think I'm just kind of over it, so I'm going to let that one go. I do like this one from Vanessa Myricks, the Lift and Flex. I feel like this one is nice, it has good coverage, wears really well, so I'll keep that one. The Makeup by Mario, I was still kind of testing this one out, so I do want to hold on to it. I wouldn't say I'm super blown away by it yet, but I do want to try it a couple more times. And then I haven't used this one in a long time, but I used to love this NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer. That's making me think, I think I do have a couple other drugstore concealers elsewhere that I need to grab. But yeah, I haven't worn this one, I feel like probably all year, but I really used to like it. Like the coverage is nice. It's a little thick, I feel like, but I wore this one so much. I feel like I need to pull this one out again. So I'm not really ready to let that one go quite yet. Okay, these are the ones I forgot to grab. I have this one from L'Oreal. This one I actually liked. It's a little thin, but I feel like it did a pretty good job under the eyes. I feel like it was really flattering, kind of a nice serum consistency again. I guess I have two of these, but I don't need both. This one looks more like my kind of color. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this one. But yeah, this is a really nice lightweight formula, the True Match Serum. And then I'll declutter this shade because it just looks a bit dark. This one is W3. And then I do have this NYX. It's a Pro Fix Stick Correcting Concealer. I did not like this one. I just didn't think it really did much for me. Again, I just prefer the Sigma one. It's the best corrector for under the eyes. It has a nice peach tone, but the formula just did not wear well. So with concealers, I feel like we actually decluttered more than we kept, which is good. Here is all the declutters, a total of 15. I don't know why the declutter pile looked bigger, but we also kept exactly 15 concealers, so we got rid of about half. Next we have setting sprays. You can tell I do have maybe a favorite here, but let's go like to the bottom first. I had to set them up weird so they don't all roll off the table, but I do have a lot of the Milk. This is the Pore Eclipse Mattifying Setting Spray, and I actually do like this one. There is some drawbacks though with the formula. It does get clogged a lot with the sprayer because it does have kind of a powder almost finish. It really does mattify the skin. I do like it though. You just kind of have to run it under some warm water and it'll unclog that sprayer. So I am going to keep it. I do have a couple minis of that one as well that I usually take traveling with me. So since it is a favorite, I'm going to keep all three of those. Okay, I was looking at all these and I'm like, wait a second. I was looking at this bottle. This is from vacation. This is just a face sunscreen. It's not like a setting spray. So this one needs to be taken out of here because it doesn't count. But these two are setting spray sunscreens. So I have the e.l.f. one. This is the Sun Touchable. It has SPF 40 plus it is a setting spray. To be honest with you, I don't think I reached for this year. I probably should have, but yeah, I really can't give like my thoughts on this one because I really didn't try it much. So I feel like that says a lot. I should probably declutter it. I just feel like I'm already gonna put SPF on my face. And usually if I'm traveling, I have a SPF powder that I like to use because I just get so greasy throughout the day. So I don't know. I think I'm going to declutter that one. I also have the Milani Make It Last with SPF 2. This one has SPF 30, but yeah, I think I'm going to declutter that one as well because clearly I haven't used those at all. Now I do have a MAC Fix Plus, and I like to use this one to wet my brushes with, which is like, that's kind of expensive for that, but it works really well. And it also works as a fixing spray. It's not necessarily a setting spray, so it's not going to make your makeup last longer, but it does kind of just like soak all your powders in together, and it makes your face look a little bit more flawless and really well blended and all of that. So I do like to have this one on hand, so I do want to keep that one. A lot of these are keeps for me, as you guys can tell. I am going to keep these 3 one size ones. This is the one that I'm currently using. This one like stays on my makeup desk because I use it almost every day. It is my favorite setting spray, and I do have a couple backups that they did send in PR, but my original one was purchased myself, and I love this stuff, but I am keeping all 3. And then this one was actually a part of their Wicked collab. It's actually a glitter setting spray, and this just is something I don't need in my life, so I'm gonna declutter this one. It is kind of cool, but like, when am I gonna use this? Unless it's just for like on the body, you know, like the décolleté area. There's just a little bit of glitter in there, but it just is very impractical for me, so I'm gonna declutter that one. I actually love this Milani Make It Last. This one is a really good long-lasting setting spray. It's not the most oil control. The one size is definitely more budge proof, but sometimes this feels a little heavy on the skin, and when I want something a little more lightweight, I like to go for the Milani one, so I'm gonna keep that one. It's my favorite drugstore one. Of course, I have my mini one size. This is like almost gone, but this goes traveling with me. I do have a couple of the mini Charlotte Tilbury ones too, and I am going to hold on to these because I am going to use them for traveling, but I will tell you, I won't repurchase them when they run out because I do prefer the one size mist. I just think this one is top tier, so I am keeping these, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it. I just think the one size is better overall. And then this is a Dewy Glow fixing spray, which I was like, maybe I'll keep this if I need a dewy moment, but that happens almost never. So I think I can let this one go from Catrice. So that means that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 declutters here for setting spray. And I'm keeping, there's 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 11 of these setting sprays. And last in this little declutter category here is going to be my powders, pressed and loose, some foundation as well. I'm not the biggest fan of powder foundation, so I really don't have a lot of those, but I think we can definitely do some decluttering in this area. I will say my favorite setting powder is definitely the Huda Beauty one. This I wear with pretty much anything. It's so smoothing and mattifying on the skin, so this will be staying. I also have like a mini size, which is like a little bit more yellow tinted, but I think I got this in a Sephora set, but I will be keeping this one too, both of those. I do have a couple Sigma powders, and this one I like to wear under the eyes because I do think it is really nice and lightweight, but I don't need both of these colors. I have Buttermilk, which is maybe more something I would use all over the face, but since I use this more under the eyes, I'm just going to keep the one in Vanilla Bean and declutter Buttermilk. This Milk makeup powder I have been testing. It's part of their matte line, which I do like a lot of the stuff in this line, but I feel like I prefer either the one size powder or the Huda, and I don't reach for this one as much, so I think I'm going to let this one go. I guess I have 2 of these Laura Mercier powders, but they're slightly different. They're both in the shade Rose, but one is the Ultra Blur Tone Up and one is just their setting powder tone up. So I don't know if they're different or what the deal is. The Ultra Blur is the one that they sell currently, so I'm going to keep that, and we'll declutter this one with the more metallic lid. A lot of people seem to like this Polite Society powder, especially for mattifying, but I don't know. I just find that I prefer the Huda again, or One Size for mattifying, so I'm going to declutter that. I just do not need all these powders. And like I was mentioning, I really do like the One Size one. I do have this one that I need to open up, but I've been trying to kind of use up some of the powders I have. So I think I am about ready to open this one up because I truly do love the One Size setting powder. I use the mini for traveling all the time. I'm actually almost out of this little mini size. So this is basically an empty on its own. So I feel like, you know, that's pretty much done. I can probably get one more use out of it, but I will be keeping the translucent one. I also have these pressed powder foundations from One Size as well. I know a lot of people do like these. I really don't wear powder foundation all over the face. It's just not my preference. For some reason, I know a lot of oily people do like powder foundation, but I like a little bit more coverage and a natural finish. And these I pretty much just use for touching up. I guess I have two shades. Light 1R, which it looks like this. It looks like that one actually has not been opened yet. And then I have this one in Light 2N, which this one usually just stays in my makeup bag and I just use it to touch up. I need to actually glue this pan back in because it's been shaking around in my makeup bag, but I think some glue will easily help that out. But I figure since I have one that isn't used, I can probably declutter this one, give it to a new home, and keep the one that I currently am using. I have these two powders from Glamlite. I was really excited to try these because I heard they were going to be so good for oily skin, but I find them to be like really blurring, and that's great, but they don't control the oil as well as my Huda or my One Size. And I have the pink powder from them, which I feel like doesn't do much for me. I'm too fair for a lot of pink powders, so they will just kind of either darken my eyes or just kind of blend to nothing. But if you have more light to medium skin, you can definitely brighten up with a pink powder like this. So I like the formula, but this color just doesn't work out for me. I did buy that one myself. I'm going to declutter it though. But that one just doesn't work out for me. But I think I will hold on to just the regular one just because I like how smoothing this is under the eyes. I like to use that one, so I think I'll hold on to that one. I am testing out the Makeup by Mario powder, which I am really liking this one so far. Again, I feel like it's really smoothing. It controls the oil, but not as much as Huda, but I'm still testing, but I'm gonna keep it. Okay, I do have a couple more minis I'm going to go through real quick. I have a Laura Mercier just regular translucent powder, which I think I'll hold on to this one for traveling. I do a lot of travel, so that's why I do hold on to a lot for travel, which might seem silly to most, but it's nice to have a smaller size for that. I like the Laura Mercier one, but it's not like my top favorite. This from Hourglass is actually a really good powder as well, especially for like longevity of your makeup. I have a mini size of this one, and I'm thinking about getting a full size. I just think it looks so flawless on the skin. It doesn't look dry at all. Like, I feel like all skin types can use this one, but I'm gonna keep that. I have a couple Charlotte Tilbury pressed ones here. One is more of a brightening under eye powder. I don't know if I necessarily noticed much brightening with this. And then I also have their airbrush in just their fair shades. So I think I might just keep the fair. I might declutter this brightening one. I honestly just haven't used this in a very long time, so I think I'm ready to let that go. But I do, I don't know, I like this one for touch-ups. I have the Tower 28 one that I've been using for touch-ups as well, this Get Set. But I always am just one that keeps a powder in her bag just because I do get oily throughout the day. So I think I'm gonna keep both of these, but I might actually, I changed my mind and I'm gonna declutter the One Size actually powder because I don't really use these tinted ones. I use the Tower 28 one for touch-ups too, but I don't necessarily think it's anything super special, just FYI. It's just kind of one that stays in my purse. I haven't used this in a while, but I did used to like this a lot. I might try to use this again. It's a little fragile, but it's the Pat McGrath, the baby pink blurring under eye powder. it is a nice formula, so I might hold on to that. And then this one I've been testing out still. This is a no sebum powder from Innisfree, and I'm still testing this one out. I've only used it like once so far, but I'm so excited to use this. I got this at a creator like trip with a bunch of other content creators. We all brought like, we had a favorite things party and we all brought a few of just like a favorite thing of ours. So this was Christina's by Christina Studio, and she said this was like one of the best things for oily skin, that when she went to, I think, Japan, a lot of people had recommended, and they use this a lot there, but you're supposed to use it after your powder, which is weird. So you powder and then you put this as like your final step. So I thought that was interesting, but yeah, I'm still gonna be trying that out. So for declutters, it looks like we have 2, 4, 6, 8 total declutters. And we're keeping 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 13 powders for keep. Definitely not my most ruthless declutter yet, but I am happy with the results, just to kind of narrow some stuff down. Here is how the drawer is actually looking now with everything. It is so much more organized. We have the foundations nicely set up. I have a few in this little, it used to be like an eyeshadow organizer for singles, but I put some foundation in there and then stacked some of the smaller bottles up front. I did put some of the more tube bottles here in this organizer. We got my primer section, my concealers, powders in the very back. A couple of my most used ones just sit on my desk. And then I do have some back stock right here with unopened things that I need to try out. There's some sunscreen, more setting sprays, just things I haven't really opened up. And then I do have a couple things here, mostly setting sprays. I had to take the lids off this because it doesn't fit very well. I have a couple glowy primers there as well, and I feel like it looks so good now.